We are with you each and every day, 4 until 6. Drive Time Radio, podcasted for you. The website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com, the most digital content covering your Tigers, and now taking it to a new level on YouTube. Yep, go check it out. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors and your friends and neighbors. All right. One name I didn't talk about before we talk about the star quarterback at LSU. I started thinking about quarterbacks, and I said, man, you know who I didn't update everybody on? Big Cinco. DJ Ungalale. Well, DJ checked in at 247 pounds by comparison to the 250 he weighed a year ago. So DJ down 3 pounds if you're keeping score at home on that front. Now for Myles Brennan in this story coming out of the Bayou, I'll say this. I didn't know, well, obviously none of us really knew how Myles Brennan got hurt, but apparently Myles Brennan, quarterback for the LSU Tigers, is a big fisher, loves fishing. And they had the opportunity to get away one final time before the college football campaign kicked up, and Myles Brennan decided that he would spend some time out on the boat. And so he did. But as an avid fisherman, anybody that does that, you know, and I've heard rumors that Myles Brennan can't catch fish the way that Double O, one of our loyal listeners, can catch fish. I heard that through the grapevine. But Myles Brennan, carrying all of his equipment and everything that he had to go out on the boat to go fishing, trips and falls. His flip-flop hits a part of the dock that may have been a little bit raised. Listen, if you've been on a dock anytime recently that wasn't just built, you know how this works out. And also, if you've worn flip-flops lately, you know how easy it is to catch the old toe. Well, he caught the toe, was unable to brace himself because he had equipment under his arms and everything. And so Myles Brennan gets up and thinks he's just bruised his arm. And because he thinks it's just a bruise, he's not going to let that take him down. So he goes fishing, spends the day fishing. The next morning he realizes that, this is worse than I thought. Drove himself to Baton Rouge, where doctors found a compound fracture in the middle of his humerus bone. You know, we talked about painful injuries. Was that yesterday? Yeah. The humerus bone is the bone between your shoulder and your elbow. And when you break it, it ain't humorous. If you're picking up on the pun I'm putting down for you. His father said he could have been anywhere, anytime, and this accident could have happened. It was just an absolute freak accident. He was not doing anything he was not supposed to be doing. Sometimes that's even harder to take. Now, LSU still hasn't come out and disclosed this. This is all coming from Brennan's family, and most people, as we've talked about now with LSU and experts around the country, including Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews yesterday, believe Max Johnson might indeed be the starter September the 4th in that matchup for LSU versus UCLA. All that being said, you know, this was going to be a tight competition. As many people, I would argue, that thought Johnson might have been the starter. People thought Brennan would be the starter. The good news is, according to Myles Brennan's dad, it does sound like the metal plate and the screws that he had inserted in his arm, that the doctors feel pretty confident that he might actually be able to get back sooner than they expected. He'll start physical therapy tomorrow. This news, according to the Advocate in Baton Rouge, and again, all coming from Owen Brennan, Myles Brennan's dad, about the LSU quarterback's injury to his non-throwing arm. And that's the other benefit that I think is significant in this scenario. for Myles Brennan is that it's his non-throwing arm, sort of like the situation we had with Trevor Lawrence and his shoulder, heading into his first year in the NFL, the non-throwing shoulder. Anytime the item that's banged up is the opposite one of where you make your money, so to speak, probably a positive thing. But again, pretty impressive that he had a compound fracture in his humerus bone in the middle of it and thought that, oh man, that's just that's merely a flesh wound. Kind of reminds me of the old Monty Python in the Search for the Holy Grail skits. So yeah, compound fracture in his humerus bone. That's an injury in which the broken bone pierces the skin and causes a risk of infection. How do you think that's just a bruise? I guess we got to get one of our doctors on from Lexington Medical Center. I guess a compound fracture can not break through the skin. But he thought it was bruised and he finished the day fishing. Let that sink in. Yeah. Yeah. And then didn't think anything was bad until the next morning. I don't know. Is Myles Brennan 21? Maybe he already had some beer before he went out there. That's the only way I think most of us could get through anything like that. I don't know how you do it otherwise. He's 22, sure. So maybe it was the hydration that helped him recognize or believe that his arm wasn't broken. But again, he was heading out to fish, not coming back. I mean, it's one thing if you're coming back from fishing, maybe. Who knows? All right, hour 2. Legendary Clemson SID Tim Beret joins us. If you're tuning in